Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 4 and we will explain about test item analysis theoretically. And before continuing to the next explanation, let me introduce my group member first. With myself is Aidah Salma and my ID number 081, Bagus Surya Maulana and his ID number 126, and the last is Yasmin Fatimah and her ID number 137. Test item analysis. Assessment of items is basically an analysis of items, and so far in general, measurement experts say that item analysis means an assessment of questions. It is well known that the preparation of the test greatly affects the quality of the items. The approach to analyzing items currently developing consists of two approaches, namely the classical approach and the modern approach. These two approaches each have advantage and disadvantage. However, both are still often used in item analysis. Item analysis includes a study of questions or qualitative analysis and analysis of empirical data from test results or quantitative analysis. However, this discussion is devoted to explaining qualitative item analysis. Qualitative analysis is an analysis of the quality of the items in terms of material, construction, and language aspects. Meanwhile, to determine the quality of the items, it is necessary to conduct further studies so that quality items are obtained. The study of test items or qualitative analysis is often called theoretical analysis. The test items that have been written are checked for compliance with the code they refer to by paying attention to the content of the material, construction, and language. The test item review was carried out by 1. Not by the test item writer, and 2. By an expert who mastered the material being tested. From these activities, the writer of the test items can find out the validity of the contents of the test item that are compiled. There are three aspects of test item analysis theoretically, and the first is material aspects. Number 1, item according to indicator. Number 2, questions and rubric on and/or scoring guideline are formulated correctly. Number 3, the material is in accordance with the measurement objective for the purpose of measuring learning outcomes, measurement purpose for selection, or measurement purpose for confirmatory or measuring status. Number 4, the material asked is in accordance with the level, type of school, and grade level. And the next is construction aspects. Number 1, the formulation of a sentence in the form of a question sentence or a command that demands an unrivaled answer. Number 2, there are clear instructions on how to solve the problem. Number 3, the rubric and scoring guideline are clear or operational. Number 4, tables, graphs, diagrams, cases, or the like are meaningful. The explanation is clear or has something to do with the problem being asked. Number 5, between items do not depend on each other. And the next is language aspects. Number 1, formulation of communicative questions. Number 2, sentence using good and correct language according to the type of language. Number 3, the formulation of the sentence does not cause double interpretation or misunderstanding. Number 4, use common words and language, not local language or new abstract language that are not yet known. And number 5, the question formulation does not contain words that can overt.
Okay, the next is qualitative analysis or review test items. In conducting a qualitative analysis, each item is reviewed according to the requirement of the item in question. The following table presents a qualitative analysis in accordance with the form of the test. How to use it? The reviewer gives a cross or the X is a requirement of an item can be met. The next is the review test item in the form of description. So this is for the aspect. The first one is aspect for the material of substance. The first one is item according to indicators. Second, question and rubrics and or scoring guideline formulated correctly. Second, the material substance is in accordance with the measurement. Objective. The fourth, the material or substance being as is in accordance with the level or type, school, and grade level. And then the constructor aspect, the formulation of sentence in the form of question or comment which demand an raffle answer. Second, there are clear instructions on how to do or solve the questions. The rubric and or SCART guidelines are clear or operational. Table, graphs, diagram, case, or the like are meaningful. And the last is that items are independent of each other. And the language aspect, the formulation of communicative question, sentence using good and correct language according to the type of language. And then the formulation of the sentence does not cause double interpretation. Use common language words, not local language or a new absorption language that is not yet known by all testers. And the last, the question formulation does not contain words that can offend test. And then the second review the test item in the form of completion. The first one is about the material. It have the same, but there is a little bit different in here. And the aspect for the material is the item according to indicator. The question is clear. Complete sentence formulation as the key answer formatted correctly. The material substance X is in the accordance with the measurement objective. The material of substance being as in accordance with the level, type, school, and grade level. And the construction, this one is a little bit different. Sentence formulation in the form open or incomplete. Sentence that only require additional words or phrase, short which is the answer or key. The items are independent of each other. And the language aspect, the formulation of communicative question. Sentence using good and correct language according to with the type of language. The formulation of the sentence does not cause double interpretation. Use common language. And then the last is the question formulation does not contain words that can often testing. And then the last is review multiple choice test item. As before, it is different a little bit in here. For the aspect material, there is a same about the item according to indicator, the case statement or question. The material or substance as in accordance with the measurement objective. The material or substance being as in accordance with the level, type, school, and grade level. And about the construction, this is a little bit different. The first is 3 questions or stem is formatted clearly. The main question and choice are clearly formulated. The subject matter does not give clues or leads to choice correct answer. The subject matter does not contain double negative statement. If forced to use negative word, it must be underlined or other print. Homogeneous answer choice, avoid alternative answer. And the length of the alternative or answer choice is relative to the same, very long, and some very short. The answer choice in the form of number, time, or short, case description or discord picture, table, or graph completely working. There is only one correct answer key. And the last, the item are independent of each other. About the language aspect is a little bit same with the other. The formulation of communication question, sentence using good and correct language in accordance with type of language. The formulation of the sentence does not cause double or wrong interpretation definition. Using common language or what not local language or a new abstraction language that is not yet known by all the testers. Formulation about content words which could offend testing. So that's all the review of the test about the multiple choice, completion, and essay. So the next presenting will be presented by my friends. Thank you.
Okay, now we get to the example. The first example is essay or description test. Here we have grade, indicators, question, and solution. And not forget, for this item we have the scoring guideline on the next slide with the analysis. So before we move on, I will read the grade, the indicators, and the question first. The question is for 7th grade students, and the indicator is students can solve problems related to inverse variation. And the question is, a high-rise building is planned for renovation with 400 workers for 120 weeks. After running for 30 weeks, the work stalled for 30 weeks. However, renovation must be complete according to the original plan. How many workers should be added to help the construction so that the work is complete according to the schedule? Okay, I will move on to the next slide. If anyone wants to read the solution, you can pause this video. Here you can see the analysis table. As Bagus and Aidah have explained before, we analyze the problem by three aspects. There are material, construction, and language. How do you fill this table? To fill this table, if the item test has fulfilled what is written in the table, you can mark it with an X. Just like what you can see right now. From this table, we can see that point 2 of the construction aspect, that is, there are clear instructions on how to do or solve the question not being marked with an X. Why is it not marked? Because, as we read from the question in the previous slide, there is no clear instruction about this condition. That is why it's not marked with an X. Okay, we are going to move on to the next example. Before it, because I didn't read the scoring guideline and read the full result of the analysis, you can stop this video for a moment to read it carefully. Move on to the second example. This is the example problem of completion test item. This question is for 8th grade students and the indicator is students can solve problems related to linear equation of two variables. And the question is, the price of one shirt and two pairs of pants is 150,000 rupiah, while the price of three shirts and three pairs of pants is 270,000 rupiah. The price for two shirts and five pairs of pants is, and the answer to the question is 360,000 rupiah. Now we move to the analysis. Here we have the analysis result of the completion test item. To read it, you can pause this video for a moment before we move to the last example. We have come to the last example, that is multiple choice test. The question is for students in 11th grade, and the indicator is students can determine the maximum value of the objective function of a system of linear inequalities of two variables. And the question is, a tailor has 120 meters of wool and 80 meters of cotton. Two uniform styles of clothing will be made. Each garment for the first uniform will require 3 meters of wool and 1 meter of cotton, while the second uniform model requires 2 meters of wool and 2 meters of cotton. If the profit from each model is 30,000 rupiah, then the maximum profit of the tailor is A. 2,400,000 rupiah, B. 1,800,000 rupiah, C. 1,500,000 rupiah, D. 1,400,000 rupiah, and E. 1,200,000 rupiah. And the answer for this question is C. 1,500,000 rupiah. Next, and the last one is the analysis of this test item. Here is the analysis result of the multiple choice test. Once again, to read it, you can pause this video. Okay, that is all from our group. I hope that you understand our explanation. Thank you so much for watching this video.